Hello and welcome to Feedbackula, the weekly comment show with attitude and a crap intro. This week we're downsizing significantly. Get it? It's a visual gag. I've been downsized because I'm smaller. Downsized. Guys? Yes, Ken Levine administered a pretty unsavoury shock to the games industry this week, announcing he is, quote, winding down Irrational Games as we know it. The studio, famous for introducing the BioShock franchise to the world, is letting all but 15 of its employees go, as Levine hopes to pursue a smaller, more entrepreneurial endeavour, making replayable, narrative-driven games for the core player. The move is interesting in terms of what Levine might come out with in the future, but with an undisclosed number of people losing their jobs as the result of basically one guy's creative whims, it's a bitter pill to swallow. Our community reaction was similarly ambivalent.
Dumb decision by Levine.
I don't care about BioShock, but I do not like to see people lose their jobs, no matter what is involved, illegal business aside. I have a feeling they will be able to find work soon.
I'd be sad about it if their last game wasn't BioShock Infinite, because it sucked.
Well, that's irrational.
Sad news. Nevertheless, I wish success to Levine and his new studio, and that those unemployed find work. It was a talented team. Here's to their future successes, wherever they may go.
Well, that sucks for BioShock, but I'm not all that upset about Irrational. With Ken Levine and 15 select employees from the original team, I can see some amazing games coming about.
Narrative-driven? What the f***? Why doesn't Levine realise that BioShock is itself a story-heavy and narrative-driven game?
I'm sure he does, but the problem is there are 3 BioShock games now. There's an established lore and narrative pattern people expect future iterations to adhere to. BioShock is an amazing franchise, but it offers Levine less creativity than a completely blank slate. I'm playing devil's avocado here because that's my job, but it's not overly surprising Ken Levine wants to break into something new.
Johnny?
Yes, Eb?
You said devil's avocado. Did you mean advocate?
No.
So you meant to say avocado?
Yes? So yeah, aside all of the people coming out of the woodwork to go, oh good, loads of people have lost their jobs, I'm glad because I didn't love BioShock Infinite, up yours by the way, the majority of our commenters were trying to work out not why Ken Levine lay off most of his studio, but more how could he? At a time where layoffs and studio closures are unfortunately frequent and almost universally related to financial woes, Ken's motivations are a little hard to stomach. Here, watch.
Why didn't he leave and let someone else run Irrational Games? Now many people are out of work, many talented people, I might add. Selfish decision on Levine's and 2K's part.
I appreciate his output, but does anyone else think that Levine is an egomaniac? He's the Don Draper of the games world.
Obviously, Levine can personally do what he wants. It's his company, he created it. But to just shutter the company because he's done with large-scale development, to just fire a staff of that size because he personally is done and doesn't have the emotional wherewithal or whatever else to appoint a successor to maintain a successful business? I really try not to get too vulgar on Gamespot because there are enough people who do that already. But I kind need to get this out of my system. Ken Levine is a childish, thoughtless, self-centered mass of sun-baked, coagulated Santorum, and I hope to God he's living in a box under a bridge after his next venture fails. When you run a business, you don't owe the employees who help create your success much more than a paycheck and some stability, and those things are not hard to give people when you're successful. Ken Levine is just an asshole, and it will be a cold day in hell when I buy anything with his name on it.
That last comment was obviously pretty long and really rather graphic in parts, but Loki Hero does raise some good points. Levine could have sold Irrational and founded his own studio, or created one alongside it to handle smaller, more creative projects, a bit like PopCap did with Fourth and Battery before EA bought them out entirely. The only problem is both of these options would probably delay work on whatever Levine's next project is, as well as stretching his resources a bit thin. It's a messy situation, but it is the most effective way for Ken to get what he wants. Ultimately, my take on the Irrational Games closure is this. Ken Levine is a truly impressive creative mind. Irrational is his studio, he can do what he wants with it, and from his own personal creative standpoint, this is almost certainly a good move. From all other angles though, Ken Levine is acting like more than a little bit of a penis. I wish I could be more articulate than that, but words fail me. Ken's being a bit of a flappy willy. Anyway, now I've likened an industry giant to a phallus, I'm going to kick my feet up and wait for a cease and desist. I'll be back next week, assuming I haven't been sued out of existence. Bye bye.